My dear friends, my name is Dr. Karnan Narayanan. I was born in India near Madurai, but I have been roaming around in the rest of my life, having lived in Japan, Germany, Korea, Malaysia, and then currently in India. My field of specialization is environmental analytical chemistry, but in general, I was very much concerned about the planet Earth and the environment in it. I've been teaching the damages done by humanity towards planet Earth all through my career. But apart from knowledge sharing and alerting, I haven't done anything in particular personally to safeguard planet Earth. I've been talking to organic farmers in Tamil Nadu every time I come over to Tamil Nadu. And recently, in this trip, in this COVID 19 space, I was meeting one Mr. Mukundarajan, and he is living in Chengalpet, where I live now currently. And he's an organic farmer with rich experience. He is now 82 or so. And he has taken me to Oroville, where the natural farmer, Mr. Bernard, is there. And I had a chat with him, and then he took me to several organic farmers in and around Chengalpet and Madras. And all these interactions has resulted in developing this project. I call this project like a green residency. That means we'll possess a piece of land where we reside. At the same time, we create an ecosystem that sustains not only our living but also planet Earth when it is being replicated on a large scale. To begin with, our idea is to gather about 40 to 50 like-minded people. If together, if we could purchase some lands which are not being used and left uncared, then we thought like we could do something substantial to our lives and to the planet Earth. The idea is very simple, that we purchase some lands which are unutilized or wrongly used with pesticides and fertilizers, thereby damaging the environment. We possess those lands from the farmers, the local farmers, okay, at reasonable prices. That's being negotiable, and it's being actually negotiated at the moment. And what we need is the critical number of about 40 to 50 people. And if we all join together, we can purchase these lands from the farmers directly. There is no intermediary there. The promoters will help us in contact with those farms, and it will be totally thoroughly checked and then legalized, and then it will be registered under our name. The idea is that each one of us will have 1 acre of land. Okay, this is not a real estate or an investment plan, and so don't think on those lines. This is actually an idea whereby you buy the land, you construct your home, settle there, and work with the land, and then develop it into a small ecosystem. And by doing this, we have, we have plans to make it totally self-sufficient energy-wise. For example, we will go solar, not the street lamps as well as your home, and everything will be powered by solar, and will be provided with high-speed Wi-Fi from Airtel, and we will be having this small green residency or a green village will have zero waste, in the sense that everything will be recycled so that we don't generate much of a waste. Okay, we'd also practice environmental friendly customs, like we use soaps that are environmental friendly, and everything, like even the construction of the house. I'm going to show you some examples how we could achieve this. So first we'll see where this land is located. So it is somewhere close to Chengalpet, about 14 kilometers from Chengalpet. It takes about 20 minutes from Chengalpet if you drive. It's also close to Mahindra World City, where there's a lot of industries there, and then it's not far away from Oragadam and Sriperumputur and then Kanjivaram. Chengalpet is a big city with all facilities. It has very huge hospital. It has several schools, and it has a registrar's office. It has taluka office. It has a police, and so it has everything a city should have. And it's also not far away from Madras. Then it's about a couple of hours travel by train or by car, and there are also plenty of buses going there. And Chengalpet is not, I mean, particularly this landscape is not far away from Meenambakam International Airport. So it is actually very close to Chengalpet, where one gets all the amenities. But one could also develop, once we have this land here, to have a small clinic and the other facilities. Okay. So now I'm going to show you how this land looks like. One second. Okay, I'll go for this. Good. So um, it's connected by road, and this is the place we are looking into. About 40 to 50 acres on this direction. And what we are going to purchase is completely fertile lands. You see nearby area where people develop rice field, and some are actually left without cultivation. But inside, if you go deep inside, then you will have plenty of lands, and not being utilized and just left uncared. And that's what we are going to purchase and cultivate them. And so here you get an overall idea of the landscape. It's very beautiful, and one could plant this kind of palmera on the sides or on the bunds of the each field. We will also have a regular fencing like this, a normal fencing outside this thing. And apart from this, we don't actually put a lot of coverage like a wall or anything, because we want to leave it as it is with a lot of fresh air, and there is no fear of theft or anything because this is deep inside. And in each field you do have this kind of bore wells, and that can supply uh, enough fresh water for agriculture as well as for household needs. And that can be supplied to each plot, or each plot can have their own bore well. It's up to us how we are going to do that. And
All plants are medicinal, and the ones that we. It cannot happen because of pollution. Okay. Because pollution kills some of the mycorrhiza and other fungi in the soil, and it prevents the trees from getting the 5% minerals that comes from the soil. You understand? And the pollution, but about the vegetation, we can do something. And that is the major reason. The destruction of the vegetation influences strongly the climate, not the carbon dioxide. And that is there's a French agronomist who has written a book. The soil makes the climate, because they saw with their own eyes, they measured in the Amazon the same thing. The people who have studied in the Sahara, Cerrado, they say we have now only half of the rainfall that used to fall 50 years ago.
what you are going to witness here is he has completely changed a barren landscape into an extraordinarily thriving ecosystem with their own little gardens where you could actually cultivate vegetables. And here is Mr. Mukundarajan taking me to different organic farms there with, like Sitaparam and Kuyaparam, and you just name it. You could develop, cultivate all those things in your field very easy. And nurseries are available by organic farmers for all kinds of plants, and even government of Tamil Nadu is supplying this kind of nurseries at a very cheap rate. And so one could easily develop a thriving, beautiful agricultural farmland in the space that has been given to us. and we can also make it profitable. That's highly possible, and can have this organic farming, and we need to be nature friendly, and that's the idea.
வணக்கம் திரு முகுந்தன். உங்களை நான் இங்கே செங்கல்பட்டில் உங்கள் வீட்டில் நான் இந்த நேர்காணல் செய்கிறேன். இதில் என்னுடைய கவனம் எங்கே இருக்குது அப்படின்னா நீங்கள் டெல்லியிலலாம் வேலை பார்த்துட்டு நல்லா இருந்துட்டு உங்கள் தந்தை ஐக்கிய நாடுகள் சபையிலலாம் வேலை பார்த்த ஒரு பெரிய குடும்பத்தை சேர்ந்தவர். ஆனால் நீங்கள் விவசாயம் தான் இந்தியாவிற்கு முதுகெலும்பு அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு நீங்கள் விவசாயத்தை முக்கியமாக எடுத்துக்கிட்டு கடந்த பல வருடங்களாக நீங்கள் விவசாயத்தை தான் செஞ்சிட்ருக்கீங்க. விவசாயம் ஏன் நமக்கு முக்கியம்? நம்ம ஏதாவது தவறுகள் செய்திருக்கிறோமா? நம்ம திரும்ப மரபு வழியில் போய் நம்மளை திருத்திக்க முடியுமா?
அக்ரிகல்ச்சரில் டூ மந்த்ஸ் ஆஃப் எஃபர்ட்ஸ் போடுறவன் அதில் நிறைய டைம் செலவு பண்ணுறவெல்லாம் முழு முட்டாள். ஏன்னா அதுக்கு உன்னுடைய வேலை நிலமை வளமாக்குறது தான். அது தானாக வரும். ஸோ நீங்கள் ஏதோ வளர்த்து விட்ற மாதிரி இந்த பொய்யெல்லாம் சொல்லி ஏமாற்றிட்டு இருக்காங்க எல்லோரும். வளர்க்குறதுக்கே ஒன்றும் கிடையாது. நம்மளுக்கே தெரியும், ஜன்னலில் அரச மரம் வளருது. அது 3 யாரும் தொட்டி கட்டி அது எருவை போட்டு தண்ணி கொட்டி அதெல்லாம் ஒன்றும் பண்ணுறதில்ல. அது ஊரே அழிச்சிடுது அந்த ஒரு மரம் வீடியோ. ஸோ அதனால் அதுக்கு எந்த ஃபேவரபிள் கண்டிஷன்னு தெரியும். ஸோ நீங்கள் நல்ல ஃபீல்டை டெவலப்பாக நல்லா பண்ணிவிட்டு அதில் உங்கள் எருவு போது சீடை போய் சேர்த்துட்டிங்கன்னா அது மேலே அது பிரமாதமாக செய்யும். இதில் நான் செய்கிறேன்றதுக்கெல்லாம் அது வெறும் அரகன்ஸை தவிர்த்து வேறு ஒன்றுமே கிடையாது.
இப்போ நீங்கள் இன்னொரு அழகான திட்டம் சொல்கிறீங்க. அதாவது பெரிய பெரிய கார்ப்பரேஷன்ஸ் இருக்கு இல்லையா, அந்த கார்ப்பரேஷனில் வேலை பார்க்குறவங்க இந்த சிறு விவசாயிகளை ஆதரிக்கிறது ஒரு முக்கியமான கருத்துன்னு நீங்கள் சொல்கிறீங்க. அதை பற்றி சொல்லுங்கள்.
ஒன்று இன்றைக்கி எடுத்து பாருங்கள், இன்ஃபோசிஸ் இங்கே மறைமலை நகரில் 25,000 பேர் வேலை செய்கிறாங்க இதில் மஹிந்திரா சிட்டியில். ஸோ இந்த 25,000 பேருக்கும் அரிசி தேவைப்படுது. ஸோ மாதம் 20 கிலோ வாங்கினேன்னா அதாவது 5 லட்சம் கிலோ வேணும் இல்லைங்க? ஆமாம், 5 லட்சம் கிலோ வேணும். ஸோ இந்த 5 லட்சம் கிலோவை இன்றைக்கி பொன்னி நெல் எடுக்கிற விலை பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 30 ரூபா வரும். பை த டைம் அரிசி ஆக்கி விற்கும்போது 50லேருந்து 60 ரூபா விற்கிறான். ஸோ இந்த விவசாயியே ப்ராசஸ் பண்ணி அவங்க குரூப் சேர்ந்து ஆர்கானிக் ரைஸு ஸ்ட்ரெயிட்டாகவே கொடுத்தாங்கன்னா அவனுக்கு ஒரு 60 ரூபா கிடச்சதுன்னா வில் பி ஹாப்பி. 60 ரூபா கொடுத்தானா அவனுக்கு ஒரு மூட்டைக்கு கிட்டத்தட்ட 2,500 ஒரு 1,000 ரூபாய்க்கு பதிலாக 1,500 பதிலாக. ஸோ அதுதான் மேக்ஸ் அ டிஃப்ரென்ஸ். அண்ட் உங்களுக்கு அரிசி தேவை, நீங்கள் ரோட்டில் அந்த விலை கொடுத்து வாங்குறீங்க, அதை நீங்கள் டைரெக்டாக விவசாயிகிட்ட வாங்கலாம். ரெண்டெல்லாம் எடுத்துட்டிங்கன்னா இப்போ லோக்கல் எக்கானமின்றதுன்றது இல்லை. இப்போ எப்படின்னா கிராமம் வளரணும்னா பணம் கிராமத்துக்கு போய் சேரணும்.
அதான்
அவனுக்கு போய் டிவி சுட்டி கொடுத்து இருக்கிற துட்டியை வசூல் பண்ணிட்டு வந்துடுறாங்க. இப்போ இது ஒரு ஒரு நாட் ரைட் ஆட்டிடியூட் மாதிரி பண்ணால் தான் நல்லது. அப்புறம் நம்ம ட்ரெடிஷன்ஸில் நிறைய இருக்குதுங்க. நிறைய இப்போ எள்ளு உண்டை இருக்கான், கடல உண்டை இருக்கான். அதெல்லாம் ஏன் ஸ்கூலில் ப்ரமோட் பண்ணணும்? இதெல்லாம் விற்கவே கூடாதுங்க. ஜங்க் ஃபுட்டு கெடுதல்ட்டு ஏன் விற்கிற? ஸோ ஸ்கூலில் பேன் பண்ணிவிடுங்க. அதே மாதிரி நிறைய கடையில் பேன் பண்ணிவிடுங்க. ஸோ அதாவது இந்த சிப்ஸு சாப்பிட விடாதுன்னா அதை ஏதோ ஒரு ஃப்ளேவர் போட்டு அட்ராக்டிவாக வச்சதான். ஸோ யூ ஆர் டெம்ப்டட் டு டேக் இட். அதெல்லாம் தப்பு.
If we all put our effort with a little bit of help from the locals, then we could generate something like 1,000 to 3,000 rupees out of our gardening, especially of the vegetables, greens, and all those things. So if one calculates that in a matter of 5 to 6 years, you will recover what you have invested in that land by selling those vegetables generated in the farm.
Okay. இதில் இந்த கான்க்ரீட் அட்மிக்சர் இது ஸ்ட்ரென்த்து இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ணுறது. அதுக்கப்புறம் இதில் ரப்பர் லேட்டக்ஸ் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஒன்று ஆட் பண்ணுறோம். அந்த லிக்விட் எதுக்காகனா வாட்டர் ரொம்ப வாட்டர் அப்சர்வேஷன் இதில் கம்மியாக இருக்கும். ஸோ ரொம்ப தண்ணி இந்த பிளாக்ஸ் உரியாது இந்த மிக்சர் யூஸ் பண்ணுறதுனால. இந்த மட் பிளாக் பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் டெம்பரேச்சர் ரொம்ப கம்மியாகும். ஏன்னா ஃப்ளை ஆஷ் பிரிக் டெம்பரேச்சர் கொஞ்சம் இன்க்ரீஸ், அதாவது வால் ரொம்ப ஹீட்டாக தான் இருக்கும். மட் பிளாக் பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் டெம்பரேச்சர் வந்து ரொம்ப கம்மியாக இருக்கும். அதுக்கப்புறம் இந்த மட் பிளாக்கோட சைஸ் பார்த்திங்கன்னா நார்மல் சைஸ் கிடையாது. நார்மலாக வந்து 9 இன்ச் இருக்கும் அகலம், ஹைட் வந்து 5 இன்ச் இருக்கும், வால் திக்னஸ் வந்து 8 இன்ச் இருக்கும். ஸோ இது வந்து 8 இன்ச் திக்னஸ் தான் வால் திக்னஸ். ஹைட் வந்து 6 இன்ச் இருக்குது இந்த பிளாக் பொறுத்த வரைக்கும். ஸோ ஹைட்டு 6 இன்ச்சு, அப்புறம் வைடு வந்து 12 இன்ச் இருக்கும், அது 1 ஃபீட் இருக்கும். ஸோ அதுதான் இந்த பிளாக்கோட ஒரு ஸ்பெஷல். அது
expensive lock. If you must have a grill, this one is a clutch plate out of a car, and then this is a bicycle wheel. I just use envelopes, old envelopes, open them up, Christmas cards, put them all together, and I've got a writing pad and can keep it in my pocket. The door between the big bedroom, master bedroom, and the bathroom. Why do you need a door? It's you and your wife who are sleeping in the bedroom, and the bathroom is there. You can have a curtain, which will cost you 100 rupees, and a door and its frame will cost you 5,000 rupees or more. You ask the question of each item, however small, is it necessary? If it's not necessary, don't do it. If it's money that you're trying to save.
The lacquer buildings and the reinforced concrete cement buildings, the difference in inside temperature is to the extent of 3 degrees.
A secret drinker, but we collect all these coloured bottles and make them into panels that we can put as decoration in the wall. You know, lovely, you get lovely colours in a dark wall.
There was no connection between money and beauty. It isn't that because he built low-cost buildings, they were not beautiful. They were more beautiful than any buildings anywhere in the vicinity and continue to be so.
I was very much into classical dancing. So he made me this house in the form of a dancer's twirl.
Yeah, one could construct such beautiful houses, less expensive but beautiful. The idea is very simple, that you have actually a land where you have a construction which is again environmental friendly, such as mud blocks, not so expensive actually, and could be constructed within a matter of 3 to 4 months. And the mud blocks need to be pressed right on your property, and then it should be left to dry for a couple of months. But in the meantime, you could have the basement constructed, and then once these mud blocks are ready, then the construction is just like the Lego. You put together all of them and construct your things. And we plan to actually consult the engineers from Auroville who are actually experts in this kind of building. And there are also well experienced builders in Tamil Nadu with mud blocks, and one could also hire them. It's up to us. Okay, so Uh, the energy supply is going to be solar, and we are going to have zero waste concept so that everything is recycled, and we are going to have vegetable gardens. And Mukunda has come out with an arch type of a greenhouse technique with which we could grow creepers as well as vegetables, and he's going to help us in having a beautiful biomass so that we don't use any fertilizers. And once we started growing the vegetables, that will generate enough of biomass that could be used in fertilizing the soil, as well as one could use that for generating generating methane. Uh, we will have actually a biogas plant in each house so that all the vegetable waste which we are producing in our field would be utilized in generating biogas plant, and then the rest will be actually used as natural fertilizer, and the septic tank and what it comes out of that would also be used as a fertilizer. Okay. The idea is once we have 40 to 50 people come together and form this community, and then we are a force to reckon with, and we could do whatever we want. If we put some extra money there, then we could buy another 2 acres of land, and there we could actually create an ecosystem. You can have a forest, you can have a swimming pool, you can have playgrounds, for children to play, and the entire circumference of this 40 acres of land, we could actually create a sand walking path so that one can walk barefooted. It's like an acupuncture. This therapy has been used in Korea and other places. And so we are going to live a natural living there. And the advantages are, like as I told you, we are self-sufficient, we are independent. Okay, we don't depend on the municipality or anything. Like even the roads and other things, we can have a mud road, and we can have the lamps, road lamps, all solar powered. We could all purchase it. It's not very expensive. We could purchase it from the investment we are making. And if there are lots of entrepreneurs in our group, then we could have a lot of little cottage industries there. For example, we could have oil extraction cottage industries, such as we could go for coconut oil or ginger oil or sesame oil based on the traditional techniques. We could also go for millet biscuits, manufacturing there, or we could also go for other peanut-based and other lentil-based baking items. Like we have a nutritionist with us, and who would help us in generating actually nutritious food out of natural millets and other things. So this project is going to be completely environmental friendly, um, independent, self-sufficient. Once you create such small villages, green villages, and then the idea will be replicated all around. And so this is like Auroville, and then people will replicate it, and then we actually um, de-urbanize, and so that we'll have more self-sufficient villages all around. And the digital India is going to bring us fiber optics, power cables, and other things, so that you can have, you can work from home, and you can even have homeschooling, and whatever creative ideas we have, we could actually apply that in this village, and we can make it as a role model for others to copy. And once that spreads in India, that then we will have totally complete a different setup, with empowering the villages, the locals, empowering the women. And so this is just opposite to what China is planning to do. China is planning to migrate 200 million people from rural area into urban area. Most of the problems of the world comes from the urban living, which is energy expensive, even otherwise, it's environmental damaging. and very stressful. Whereas what we offer here is like you decentralize it, de-urbanize it, and be free and energy efficient and zero waste and low carbon living. And so that's what is needed. So what I'm going to do is in my FB page, I will leave a connection to a Google form. You fill up there, if you are interested, you just fill up those details, plus you give us ideas what could be implemented, and you use your knowledge so that you can come over there and then implement those knowledge so that all of us could be benefited. So that is about the green residency. Thank you very much for listening, and hope to have you soon.